talking about windshields, this was a windshield that I just got. I ordered it from Amazon, along with the Joker machine mirrors that I found on Amazon. This one here, it's kind of like the Clockworks that I had before. I really like the Clockworks, but the Clockworks are $200. So I found this one on Amazon. It's called the Buy-in-House 9-inch wave mirror, and I thought, you know, it was pretty good. There's some decent reviews about it, and the measurements are right, so I got it. It was 30 bucks, I think. So this one's not going to work. It has some issues when mounting that aren't right, and I want to show you some things to look for when you get a windshield before you just stick it on there and go down the road. So the first thing is, here's a stock windshield, here's the buy-in-house windshield. The first major thing is that the curvature is off. What I mean by that is, I'm going to try to show it here. If you look when I just set them together, you can see how the stock windshield is curved more at the end. There we go. And it's like that on both ends. There we go. So when they formed this windshield, they didn't they didn't form it with these ends curved enough. So what happens is it causes undue stress on your outer fairing. You can force it in. If this thing doesn't sit the way it's supposed to, like a Harley windshield, naturally, then you shouldn't use it. Now, I saw in the comments a lot of people said, yeah, they saw some buckling on their windshield or their fairing. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to do it. I did it, but I'm not going to put it back in because it causes stress on there. It's like, if there's buckling, then why are you using it? Send it back. And a lot of people were okay with that, but I'm not okay with that. I mean, if you're going to make a product and sell it, make it right. Okay, so if I set the windshield on here with the middle hole where it's supposed to be, as you can see, the outside, it doesn't curve properly to go into the fairing. So that's a problem in itself. Here, try this side too. It doesn't fit. Now, granted, you can take the ends and you can force bend them, but that's not the way a windshield's supposed to go in. So if you force bend that windshield in here and to get it to push down, you can put the bolts in and you can make it work, but then it causes a bowing up right here on both sides, and this pulls out from the windshield. So then you have a big gap in there. Well, now you put stress on the outer fairing. The other thing is, when it's pushing out, it's going to push out on this edge, and it's just not a good practice for this corner, both of these corners, to be pushing out with that force, and that windshield's thick. The other thing you got to be concerned about, if the windshield doesn't fit right, it's a press fitting that goes into the inner fairing itself. It's on both sides. If you continually have pressure pushing out on this, and that's a lot of pressure because it's thick plexiglass, those barrels could pop out, and now you've got an issue of how do you replace the barrels. I know there's kits for it, but how do you get it replaced to know that it's going to be solid like it was from the factory? So now if I go back to the stock windshield, see, I even line up the middle hole and the sides already go into place like they're supposed to. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. It even just falls into place like it's supposed to. It's a non-issue. There you go. There's the stock windshield in just with one hand. I'm holding the camera in the other hand. If I got to use both hands, like with that Buy-in-House flare windshield, to make it work, then there's a problem. I shouldn't have to bend it to make it fit. So these are some things when you get a windshield and you install it that you should look at and be concerned about. You know, stock windshield, I don't have any gap here anymore. You know, there's no pushing on the outer part of the outer fairing, so it sits comfortably in there like it's supposed to. I'll be sending that one back and looking for something else. All right, guys, so I sent the one back, the one I got from Buy-In House was the name of it. Then I started doing some research on it. It turns out that Buy-In House is actually just a mass-produced windshield, and it's sold by actually 4 other companies. One other big one, Amazika, sells that same windshield. So I mean, it was 30 bucks. It was good to try it, but again, this is where price does matter. So just beware that what you get online may not be the product that's right for your bike, because it does not fit. So I went back to an old standby. So you can see here, looking at the curvature of this one, it is almost exact. And this is going back to one of my old standbys, which is Clockworks. I love Clockworks windshields. Had one on my old bike, and it worked perfectly. So you're going to pay for what you get, obviously. The Clockworks was $200 compared to the $30 of the one I got online. Now another brand, obviously Harley Davidson makes their own wind splitter or wave windshields. They don't come in the colors I want. I wanted a solid black one. I didn't want a smoked one. That's all I could have gotten with Harley with the windshield I wanted. Memphis Shades also makes them. So these are name brands, and they take a little more pride in their manufacturing than some of these knockoffs that are going to cause issues when you put it on your motorcycle. So back to the Harley windshield. So you can see it drops right in, no issue whatsoever. That's why you don't have the buckling in between the upper outer fairing bolts that hold your windshield in. So now let's grab the Clockworks. And this surprised me actually. When I pulled the Clockworks up, as you can see, it does not drop down naturally like the Harley Davidson one does. And when you look here, it's pushed in from the outer fairing. So Clockworks actually bent theirs too much, whereas the one I got online didn't bend it enough. So it's closer though, all right? But it's still not completely accurate. Then if you look up here towards the front, and this is just holding it up, I'm actually on the fairing. I've got to push it back to get it to drop in. And when I push it here, the outside pushes out to fall into place. So now it's not bad though. I've already had it on, and there's just a little tiny bit of buckling here. But I did want to show you things to be aware of when you get a windshield and start installing it on your motorcycle. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this in. So I've got to actually push on the front, then the outsides push in on their own. And there you go, it's in. We'll put the bolts in. I'll show you the little bit of buckling that occurs here that you don't get with the stock Harley Davidson windshield. Okay, we got the Clockworks windshield on, and looks great, but as you can see right there, there's a little tiny bit of gap in there. And it's only on one side on this, so that's not too bad. So Clockworks did pretty good, but I did want to show you that different windshields are going to cause issues with your outer fairing fitting properly. So just be aware when you put it on what's taking place on the outer fairing, because you don't want the buckling, and just send it back at that point and get something that fits right. I hope that helps with issues installing windshields on your Harley Davidson touring motorcycle. You could see there were some problems between even a name brand windshield, which I'm going to keep, it works, or some of the real cheap things that you can get online. If you keep up with me and you went back to the video where I was talking about some of the new content or the new direction of the channel, I said I was going to order stuff online and see how that worked out. So that poorly manufactured windshield we started with in this video was the first failure of ordering parts online that didn't work. It was easy to return though. I mean, it was no big deal, and it just prompted me to go get a windshield I knew would work for the motorcycle. But it's been a good experiment so far. So anyway, take that into consideration when you're going to do your windshield, whatever you get, and again, make sure that it fits correctly. As always, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it on the channel. And there's an article that goes along with this video, and it goes into some more details on my website at rideatwrenchit.com.